everyone, and welcome to the Human Pulse podcast, where we talk about living well with technology. I'm Anne Trager, a human potential and performance coach.
And I'm Fabrice Neuman, a tech consultant for small businesses.
This is episode 22, recorded on August 2025.
Human Pulse is usually never longer than 30 minutes, so let's get started.
So, Fabrice, are you noticing how the conversation about tech has turned to be almost exclusively AI-related these days?
No joke.
Yeah, I know. And it's like AI is the focus of all tech conversations, and things like committees and commissions and organizations that used to be called tech whatever are now called AI whatever, as if like all tech were AI.
Well, and I guess that's the point. I do remember back in the day, we would talk only about processors and speed and what have you, because this was important. And nowadays, for each new device, there's not such a big jump in power or speed or whatever. So it's not important anymore.
The official department of technology did not become the official department of speed or the official department of processors. And now everything's become the official department of AI instead of the official department of tech.
I see your point. Maybe the equivalent would be the department of PCs.
Right. Well, anyway, so that said, I just wanted to start today's conversation with something tech related that has nothing to do with AI. Okay. Yet. And I'm going to need you to do the props for those of you who are watching this, because I did not bring my prop with me. But I wanted to talk about my total tech joy with my Ember cup. Show us the Ember cup for those of you who are watching on the mug. So what Ember is a mug that is will automatically keep my coffee at the right temperature.
Yeah, and we talked a bit already about it here, but at that point, I was the only one using it, and you were pretty jealous about it. And so you got one, which meant that I had to get another one. So now I use two.
Right. So we are an Ember family. Well, why am I talking about it today? I mean, I was thrilled when I got one, and I love it, and I use it every day. However, I realized that this tech is now enabling me to get back to meditation.
Yeah. So you have to tell more about it, because
okay.
And I like the fact that, and considering what we're going to talk about later on, a bit of very positive and optimistic piece of tech is a very welcome.
Well, and it brings me back to something which is totally untech related, which is totally disconnected, which is meditation. So let me explain. So I was my mornings. I get up. I do all kinds of things. I have a very structured routine, which is full of all kinds of stuff. And it includes spending a lot of time going outside and walking. And then when I come back from my walk and I get ready for my day, I will go make my coffee, and then I will start my day. Because of all of the stuff that I do in the morning, I had sort of given up on the meditation. Yes, I would do walking meditations, but I wasn't actually doing a sitting meditation. And the coffee was coming at just the right time for me. So I didn't want to push back my coffee or anything like that. And I realized the other day that, well, actually, I can have a few sips of my coffee, then I can go and do my sitting meditation. And when I come back to my coffee, it will still be warm. So it opened up this space where I could actually do my meditation and not totally disrupt my routine again in a way. So I want to thank Ember for that. I want to thank that technology for that. I want to thank technology, and I want to thank my meditation practice, because it is wonderful.
Yeah, and I think it's also related on a broader spectrum to the importance of accessories. So it's an accessory to your morning routine, just like maybe it's a little stretch, but the right case for your phone. Sometimes you choose a case that's not the right one. The grip is not good. It's too big. It's too small. It's whatever. And then you find the right one, and all of a sudden it falls into place.
Exactly. Thank you for stating that in such a concise way. Okay, but that was my topic for today that I really wanted to bring. What about you, Fab?
Well, so the topic I want to discuss is more doom related.
Yikes.
It's not very positive, but I think it's really important to talk about it. It started after reading an article in The Atlantic called "The AI Doomers Are Getting Doomier." And it talks about all those people thinking that basically we are playing with fire when, doing AI, basically sowing the branch on which humanity is sitting, leading to its fall, the fall of humanity, and being replaced by sentient AIs, not only taking over, but even killing us all.
Yikes.
And so that was the starting point, because and for example, the lately we saw, and I had this kind of somewhat of a discussion on LinkedIn about this new image generating model from Google called Nano Banana, which is absolutely amazing as far as the results are concerned. You can do whatever you want. You can replace faces on people, moving people on videos. You can create an image and then modify it just by prompting it, even with voice, and it's like, it's absolutely amazing. But then it also starts the discussion, which is what I started on LinkedIn saying, be careful, people, because basically it means that every day is April's Fool Day, because you cannot trust anything you see even more, because what Nano Banana model is generating is so perfect. So is there so I can understand people saying, look at that. AI is going to destroy maybe not us, but everything we've known for sure until now. And so this is why I guess at least listening to people saying that AI is going to do some harm is interesting.
Well, that article, I read it. It's a very doomy article. It cites these naysayers who are giving us another year or so of sovereignty before the robots take over. I mean, that's really scary. That's like really soon, okay? And then, or maybe a few more years before they kill us all off. And so it also refers to the ebb and flow of doomsdaying around AI, which I thought was really interesting. And, it's started off strong. The AI is, leading us to our doom, and then things waned a little bit. And now it seems to be coming back with some actual examples of chatbots and chatbot simulations that deceive human beings, that blackmail us, that even, simulate killing humans and things like that. I mean, this is some pretty scary stuff, or AIs that are sabotaging user requests, or they have these secret evil personas, or they're talking to each other in code, and nobody seems to know how to make it safe. So that's really scary.
It is scary. I would interject here to remind everyone that when we say AI seems to want this or do this or do that, AI does not think, right? This is our perception, because AI is still just a statistical approach of, what word comes next in a sentence. And then we do anthropomorphize it because it's so close to being perfect as a conversation tool.
Yeah. From what I understand, people who are deep into AI don't exactly understand how these AIs are communicating with each other in code and what they're doing, and how it is that stuff happens that looks like deception and feels like blackmail and so forth. So, I mean, okay, there's a lot we don't know. That article also references a statement made in 2025. So that was a year ago. In a statement made in 2024, so a year ago, where a number of researchers came out and said that mitigating the risk of extinction from AI should be a global priority alongside other societal scale risks, such as pandemics and nuclear war.
Yeah.
This is mentioned in an article in Scientific American.
Yeah, so in another article, I might say, so you said I was like the doom bringer, and then you brought a new article that even, went further.
I know. So this article is from Scientific American, and it's very recent, and it's called "Could AI Really Kill Off Humans?" And the fellow who wrote it is a national security specialist. And he starts with this really bold hypothesis, which I was actually well, which I am actually very happy to believe. So, and the hypothesis that he starts with in this article is no scenario can be described in which AI is conclusively an extinction threat to humanity. Humans are simply, now listen to this, okay? Humans are simply too adaptable, too plentiful, and too dispersed across the planet for AI to wipe us out with any tools hypothetically at its disposal. If we could prove this hypothesis wrong, it would mean that AI might pose a real extinction risk. Okay, so that's what he starts the article with. And then he goes on to explain that with his team of an engineer and a mathematician, and this is their job to actually analyze risk. They went out to take the risk of AI causing extinction to be very serious, okay? And they studied how it could do us in, basing it on the big things that could possibly do us in today, which are nuclear threat and pandemics and, I don't know, biological weapons or something like that, okay? And he concludes, it turns out it will be very hard, though not completely out of the realm of possibility, for AI to get rid of us all. Anyway, I recommend reading the article. We will link to it to understand, first of all, what AI would need to do us all in based on this study.
Yeah.
Anyway, what I take away from it on a more positive note is that we are not, in the current AI landscape, we're not yet at this kind of super evil AI.
Yeah, so I would add a couple of things to this article. First of all, his team considered like 3 different things, like biological weapons, pathogens, and nuclear war, one after the other. So uh, in the article, like at least he didn't consider the fact that AI could potentially do all 3 at the same time. So, well, and
Hey, I ended on a positive note there, and
yeah.
here you go.
And then there's a sentence at the end of the article that struck me, which is this one, 2 sentences. So will AI one day kill us all? It is not absurd to say it could, as you said. At the same time, our work shows that we humans don't need AI's help to destroy ourselves. So maybe AI is not the only culprit here. And it goes back to the fact that for now, AI is, even if we don't exactly know how it works sometimes, we are the master of it, like we created it. And so it didn't step out of the box yet. Will it ever? I cannot know, obviously. I don't think anybody knows. But the AI is not sentient. So that would be my message. Let's not be too anxious about it because, we like to, as humans, we like to scare ourselves.
Yeah.
Just look at all the movies and stuff like, and The Matrix and Terminator.
Well, so then in theory, we may have created a little bit of clickbait from talking about this.
Yes.
Okay.
Absolutely.
Not our intention. We're just doing it out of curiosity, right?
Yeah. Well, and the articles are also very well written. So they're
absolutely.
a good read.
Yeah, it's a good read. The thing is that with what's happening in AI, in the past a month or so, maybe we don't need to be quite so worried. So can you tell us a little bit about that?
Yeah, so the parallel I drew was with the somewhat botched launch of ChatGPT 5. So we are going to link. There were many articles about it. I read one from the Los Angeles Times that seems to demonstrate that the progress of generative AI, the one technology LLMs are based on LLMs, actually, it's already slowing down, or at least not capable of achieving the exponential improvement that was previously thought possible. So, from GPT-3 to 4, it was amazing. From GPT-4 to 5 is not that much of an improvement, so some people say. So, and some people have been now saying that, well, AI is a bubble ready to burst. Even Sam Altman, the founder of OpenAI, talks about an AI bubble. Right?
He was the first, I think, to pull out the word.
Right? Yeah, exactly.
Is it marketing or not? I don't know.
Well, that my point exactly. When he says that, maybe it's also trying to drive the market to some place. But he's not the only one saying that it's an AI bubble. But just during the 2000s, the web bubble, the internet bubble, because there was so much money burnt in the development of all those tools. And so, and because of, the first tests of ChatGPT 5 not being uh, so much better than the previous version. And in the first few days, it would actually give some weird results. So some people are saying, you see, AI is dumb, so there's nothing to worry about, right? So,
Yeah.
but I would say, as usual, that the truth between, AI is dumb and AI is going to be our overlord, it's probably in the middle. Just like, as human beings, we are suckers for novelty. So we are just as quick to ditch what we just adopted. That's what we are. And my main thing about it is that either when we talk about AI or not, we more often than not think in absolutes. We go back and forth until we meet in the middle. So it's a process. And I think we are just doing that with AI nowadays. So we see around us, the world is obviously shaken by the recent wide adoption of generative AI, chatbots, and other creation tools, like I was mentioning Nano Banana a few minutes ago. But I'm thinking that the 2.5 years since the mainstreaming of ChatGPT, because it was, released to the world, to the wide world in October, November 2022, it's not enough to estimate the long-term effect.
Well, so I'll second you on a few things that you said. First of all, that we are absolute suckers for novelty, just love anything new. And we as human beings are fickle. That means so we're really quick to adopt and then to drop and then adopt and drop and go back and forth and whatever. This is our nature. And particularly when, first we have trust in something and then that trust is broken because it doesn't work. We've talked about trust before.
Mm-hmm.
With ChatGPT, it worked and then it didn't. I mean, one of the things that happened is a lot of the things that people had built prior to ChatGPT coming out, they woke up the next morning when it came out and it wasn't working anymore because it was based on, the previous models and all of that. And then there were workarounds to make it work. And then ChatGPT, did what they had to do. But that's enough to break my trust. I mean, do I really want to build tools that are supposed to help me and make my life easier using something that I could wake up one morning and find that it's not working? I mean, I know that can happen anytime. I'm not naive. However, I don't know. There's something. I do wonder ultimately. Okay, I'll just put it this way. My trust has been shaken. So I'm a little bit less likely to spend hours and hours building something if I don't yet trust the tool. So I'm going to wait a little longer. Anyway, I don't know. This has nothing to do with how it will fundamentally change our nature as human beings. And that's another question.
Yeah, it's true. So my latest example about this and the trust thing, that I tried to use ChatGPT to help me write a long article in French. Maybe it's one of the reasons why it didn't work that well, because as we know, all those tools have mainly been developed in English. And the main source of data is still in English. So maybe it played a role. But the thing is, I had a back and forth conversation with ChatGPT, and it was very interesting and nice in the way of building up the topic and adding up to it, up until the point where it started to tell me, well, this is going to be super long. Basically, it refused to produce that long of an article. So I had to tell it, go on several times. And then we ran in circles because I wanted to get a file compiling all the things that we produced together. And it said, yes, of course. And then I had to answer 10 questions for him. It said, are you sure you want this? Maybe you just want the titles of the sections and not the text in it. Up until it totally refused to produce the file I wanted. And so it was like, what was happening? So, and I had to go back in the conversation and do just like basic copy and paste to get the end result that I will now have to rewrite because it's not very good, actually.
So, I'd kind of like to just anthropomorphize that a little bit and say, look, your chat GPT is resisting you and is deceiving you and is making, I don't know, is taking you on a wild goose chase or whatever.
Exactly. That's what it felt like. So I know it wasn't that. I was probably reaching some kind of limitations, either of the model or limitations brought by OpenAI because I was asking something big enough for the servers to be, used too much for their profit and losses balance, like financial balance.
But if we take that apart, human beings, when they start getting grumpy and they start saying, I don't want to do that. Are you really sure you want to do that or whatever? Maybe it's because, they haven't eaten in a while. So they haven't, and so what you're asking will take too many resources away from their server, upsetting their profit and loss balance for the day or whatever. I mean, it's not that far off.
At least ChatGPT never got angry or annoyed.
Right, yeah. So now we're grateful that it's fawning,
Exactly.
right?
Exactly. And actually, it forced me not to be either, because at some point, so, come on, like, just do what I ask. And so, but I did not say that to it. But so it means that there can be a limitation. There are limitations to what AI can bring to us for now. And what the tools can bring. So we don't exactly know what all the AI tools we now have will do to us, will bring us, and some of them will disappear because it's such a moving target these days. But some will stay and be useful. And so this is the search is on, obviously, and all the big companies are trying to achieve that. The latest demonstration for me was what Google showed during the Google Pixel event. The Pixel phones, it's their brand of smartphones, whole big collection of them. So, you have a candy bar and foldable, whatever. And they showed some new AI tools integrated in that new range, and it's called Magic Q. And what it does is it's trying to use the information it has on the phone, so your calendar, your reminders, your email, containing lots of information, as we know, about yourself and your relationship with people, and when you receive a package or you go on a travel or whatever. And it tries to actually help you, just like an assistant, do things for you. So for example, you made a reservation for a restaurant and you have that confirmation of the reservation in your email, and a friend asks you in a text message, did you make the reservation? And the phone, knowing that, will actually can answer for you, or at least give you the potential answer. Yes, the reservation is done, and here's it's at this place at this time, and here's the link to the restaurant. And all of this is generated by the phone because it knows things about you and what you're going to do in the next few days or something like that. And this is where I think the fact that AI can know more about you, this is where, for me, the A in AI can become assistant instead of artificial. I'm rooting for that because I think AI can really be an assistant if I give it enough information about me, which brings us to the fact that there's the question, when is giving information is like giving too much information?
Yeah.
And maybe letting it out of the box, as we were mentioning.
Yeah. Well, and there's this thing about, in one of the articles about the Pixel 10, it talks about AI that remembers. And so you want it to remember as much as possible. And I know that you really like the idea of having a machine that remembers everything.
Yes.
And I'm not even going to the privacy stuff article, just the concept of a machine that remembers everything. And I actually believe that forgetting is a superpower. I just think it's really cool to forget things, and it allows us to really focus in on stuff. And I think, when we talked about this in episode 1 of this very podcast, just like we talked about trust in episode 6 of this very podcast. So anybody who wants to go listen to those. And, my stance on the matter is that no matter where AI leads us, as an assistant or as an overlord, we can all gain from leaning into our humanity. Okay, with its messy forgetting, okay, and its oddball interpretations of broad contextual situations. That's kind of what we call creativity and innovation, okay? And our drive for interaction with other people, which is like almost purely physical, okay? And I'm not talking about it's just we are driven as human beings to be with other human beings because it creates all of these really happy hormones for us, notably oxytocin, which is wonderful for health and longevity. Well, and we have all of this other stuff going on. And the more that we can actually lean into this, the more human we become. I just think then the AI will be a really interesting side partner. Something, and we don't know what it will be yet. And I also believe that we as human beings are wildly, wildly resistant. We are really hard to kill. Okay. Even for AI. And to be positive here, I think that we were certainly more likely to outlive the current LLMs. So there we go. That's my positive take on today's conversation.
Yeah. Well, so going back on your two things, the fact that the forgetting being a superpower, I would add the fact that forgetting is a superpower of human beings, which means for me that we can give the AI the possibility to remember for us so we can ask it whenever we want.
Absolutely.
And so this is what I like. And as far as the restrictions and limitations of LLMs, I think this is what's happening already after 2 or 3 years. We are reaching the limitations of the current LLM model as a whole. And it struck me that Yann LeCun, he's a French guy, he's the head of AI at Meta, already said that at least a year ago, if not almost 2, saying, well, you know what, guys, LLMs, I'm not interested in them anymore in the development because this is, okay, we reached the peak as well already. We'll put a link to some things that he said. That's very interesting. So we'll see what happens next. But
right. Well, so in a very, very human way, I wonder, oh, goody, what's next?
Exactly. On that note, that's it for episode 22. Thank you all for joining us. Visit humanpulsepodcast.com for links and past episodes.
Thank you also for subscribing and reviewing wherever you listen to your podcasts. It helps for other people to find us. And we would be grateful if you could share this with one person around you who is wondering about the future of AI or possibly wondering about the future of humanity.
Anyway, normally, we'll see you in 2 weeks.
Bye, everyone.